dreams and your vision and not other people's expectation. Having breast cancer wasn't my choice, but the decision to live healthy so that I could stand before you here today, that's choice. You can choose this very moment to change your life from every perspective.
Tracy Randolph was our speaker. She came back because so many people liked her first presentation. I was one of those people that joined her fitness group, and it made me a better leader.
I grew up in a community, but they had limiting beliefs on what a little black girl could do. Everything that you do in this life is a choice. I choose to live healthy. I choose to change my mindset. I choose to be everything that I dreamed of because I choose faith and I choose me. Live healthy, be everything that you can be today. Choose yourself.
Hi everyone, Jannette Ramos here, CEO and President of It Takes a Village Housing. It Takes a Village Housing is a nonprofit organization that houses women who have been affected by drug and alcohol use while having their children live in transitional housing. Services to include drug treatment, mentoring, counseling for the kids, parenting. We set them up with employment. We help them get everything that they need to get them out into the community. Go to our website, ittakesavillage1.org, and donate. Donate whatever your heart desires, and let's change families one at a time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Whole Living Show. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning, quite crisp here in North Carolina, so the weather is starting to change and winter is coming. However, we still love it. The sun is shining. We love that the seasons change because, variety is good, everybody out there. So I hope that you are doing well wherever you are in the world. So as always, we have an amazing show for you with a wonderful guest that is waiting backstage. But I wanted to start off talking to you about manifestation and living the life that you desire. And we're going to get into this with our guest. And we've got Weekly Dose of Dano out there. And I won't give away our guest, but thank you, Dano, for joining the show. So we're going to talk about manifestation with our guest, but I wanted to talk to everybody about that now also because we are in the fourth quarter, almost in the second month. October is, a little over halfway through the month. So this is the fourth quarter. And I know everybody always set these, New Year's resolutions, or they just say that I'm going to start doing X, Y, and Z, be it, eating right or exercising, or I'm going to do the things that I need to do in my business at the beginning of the year. But you don't have to wait to start doing what you need to do for yourself and your life. Listen, this is the perfect time to set yourself up for a great new year. We're coming up on 2023, so no time like the present than to do it today. And I would say if you don't have a plan in place, put that plan in place for next year right now. It's going to set you up to have a successful year in whatever it is that you want to do. So when it comes to manifestation, you need to write these things down and make it plain and keep them in your thoughts constantly. And you look at them and you say them to yourselves so that you can manifest the things that you really want. But my guest, from what I hear, she's been told on. So I heard that she has the art down of manifestation. So we're going to talk to her about that. And she was actually ready. The stars were aligned because she was already ready for this morning based on what she was doing today. So manifesting in your life is a daily walk. It's something that you need to do every day. Make it plain, put it in front of you. I actually have two boards on my wall in my bedroom. and it's everything about my goals and dreams for my personal life and my professional life. And I keep them in front of me. And these things will happen for you if you just stay focused on them and keep doing it. And then I even have a prayer box where I put names and things that I desire are all in this prayer box. So I'm hitting it from every angle and fixing my mindset every day around the things that I really want in life. So you have to make sure that you are doing that. Daniel, thank you so much. He's saying, I'm excited for this episode. I am as well. So listen, without further ado, I'm going to introduce the beautiful guest that is waiting backstage that Daniel is so excited to see, everybody. She is an author, a model, a motivational speaker, an actress, a fitness instructor, and she is the founder and CEO of It Takes a Village Transitional Housing for mothers who have battled substance abuse and alcohol abuse and either have or have had their children removed or are on the cusp of having them removed. So you saw that commercial. That is our beautiful guest. So I want everybody to make sure that you go over and you check out It Takes a Village. All right, you go to ittakesavillage.com, and we're going to bring that up throughout this show. But Jannette Ramos is here with us today, everybody, and she is an advocate for positive change for those single mothers, and she is a single mother herself with two sons, two amazing sons. Weekly Dose of Dano is actually one of her babies. And I always say babies, even though I know, Dano, I know you're a grown man. I know that, but you're still your mom's baby. So Jannette has been in the social work field for over 25 years and has a passion for helping and empowering the lives of others. And we're going to get into why she's doing what she's doing now. Previously, she worked in the child protection service field with abused and neglected children for over 20 years. So you can see why some of her passion in It Takes a Village has actually come up because of the work that she has done for her life. Since then, Jannette has transitioned into helping mothers who are on drugs to find their way while while raising their children. The hope and mission are that families be built as a unit while giving mothers a second chance. Now, how amazing is that? Because everybody in their life, things happen in this life and people need help and we all need each other. So Jannette is making this happen for the mothers out there who need assistance with their children. She is also a best-selling author with her book titled Where's Mom? Jannette is avid. We're going to talk about where everybody can get that book today as well. She is avid in physical fitness, and you can see it. She's absolutely beautiful. She has taught Zumba and other fitness exercises to promote both physical and mental health. And I love that she puts the mental health piece in there because exercise is so good for that as well. She's a board member of Cam Care Health Corporation, having served for over 16 years, and is also serving at the Camden City Anti-Bullying Committee. She's from my home state. Whoop, whoop. That's right. I see her dancing in the back. That's right. Backstage. That's right. We are New Jersey girls. Jannette is committed to giving back to her community where she spends a lot of her time in many Camden City cleanups, volunteering at Cathedral Kitchen, and promoting events for It Takes a Village. So listen, everybody, without further ado, I am going to bring in the beautiful Jannette Ramos. Yay!
Hi, everyone. I just have to say, Tracy, you can drop the mic. We can end this interview because you touched upon pretty much everything that I was going to say as far as manifesting. You said it.
Wow.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Very, very well said.
Absolutely. So your bio, it speaks for itself, right? But me knowing you and having to get to know you, you're just a beautiful person, and getting to know your son. And there's a lot to be said about, when you see the children, the type of mother, right? Especially because this is from my heart to your heart. Single motherhood is not easy. I know because I'm doing it as well. But to be able to raise, I know you have two amazing sons. And I happen to know Daniel personally too, and that he's just an amazing young man. Yes. So it says a lot, about you, and then just getting to know you and meeting you in person, and the embrace that you have for people is just amazing. So it's no small feat, right? And no mistake that you're doing what you're doing now to help the lives of all of the moms out there, all the moms out there who are in need of assistance. And
absolutely.
So talk about let's talk about the manifestation part first, because I want to go deeper into It Takes a Village and what you're doing a
Okay.
little bit later. But, you were told on by our coach, Dr. Lauren Harris.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yes. So he was talking about how, you manifest things and when you speak it, things happen, right?
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that, and even talk about when you realized that you were actually manifesting the words that were coming out.
He has an example about that too. He doesn't let me forget. Maybe I should touch upon that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of touched upon it in the beginning. We are the creators of our own realities.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak this in the most basic way that I possibly can. And it goes like this. We are the creators of our own realities. I know that you had talked about earlier having things. You have 2 boards in your room, and you write things down, and that's what manifestations are. Basically, you desire something, you ask for it, you become ready to receive it. When I say ready to receive it, let's take that a little bit back. We as creators of our own realities, we have certain things that we believe. We have these belief systems. Now, these belief systems, whether we were taught from our mother, our grandmothers, our ancestors, we believe certain things. And beliefs are just thoughts that we keep thinking. That's basically it. Beliefs are thoughts that we keep thinking. So it's up to you to decide what thoughts you are going to believe. Yeah. I'm not saying, beliefs are, you believe them to be true or not true. So that is up to you. We are all responsible. We're responsible for our own thoughts. So if you say to me, Tracy, hey, this book or this hand is yellow, and I say, no, this hand is green, then you're going to believe what you're going to believe, and I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe. Nonetheless, manifestation comes in is when you believe something and you put yourself in the receiving mode to get what it is. You emanate. You believe, let's say I want $500 million and I've emanated that into the universe, which by the way, I have, and I am going to get. So this is living proof. Once I get that, that manifestations do exist. But with that money, I plan on doing a lot of good. It's not that it's all for me.
Right.
But manifestation.
I wanted to stop you for 1 second, because I love that you said emanate what you're believing in, right? Because people can speak words out of their mouth and ask for certain things, but they don't. It's not deep down, right?
It's not deep down. They don't believe it.
Yeah.
They have fear and doubt, and that's one of the things that's the primary thing that will stop folks. When when you're spewing certain things, whether it's positive or negative, positive or negative, the mind is a powerful thing. You attract what you think. You become what you think. So if you think you're a certain thing, then that's what you're going to become. If you think it positively, great. But if you think it negatively, you're also going to attract that. And basically, if you read up on the law of attraction, when you think a thought, all it takes is 17 seconds for the law of attraction to bring you another idea or thought that's similar to that. And so in reading up in all of this, it takes 68 seconds is all that you need to begin the beginnings of what it is that you're seeking, whether it's positive or negative. For example, the CEO, I'm the CEO and I'm the founder of It Takes a Village Housing. If you had told me this a year ago, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah. And look at that. That's not really a lot of time when you think about it, right?
It's not. And that's a great point that you bring to Tracy. And I'm just going to touch upon that because I'm thinking about it right now. What is time? You may say, hey, I have 5 years to get X, Y, and Z done. That's something that you really shouldn't. I know people are going to disagree with me on this, but basically you shouldn't have a timeline. Yes. Should you have goals? Yes. But should you say I'm going to do it by next year? You can, but you're really setting yourself up for this disappointment. Just
Mhm.
emanate it and allow it to happen. Have
Yeah.
fun with it. Have fun in the journey, in
Yeah.
the getting there. That's what's the best thing about manifestations. You're
Yeah.
asking for certain things, but you're having fun. Have fun creating them. Have fun along the way. Stop
Yeah.
worrying. Stop thinking. Um, the universe will bring you the who's, the whens, the hows, and the wheres.
Mhm.
Just know and believe that
Mhm.
it's yours, or believe that it's coming.
Yeah.
So
And
try
I
not to really think about timelines per se. Just know and believe in your heart that
Yeah.
it's coming.
And I love that you said that, not to worry about the
Don't
time.
worry. That
Yeah.
stops you in of itself. Worry and fear, number one,
Yeah.
will disallow those things from coming. Even the smallest fear, the smallest worry. And I
Mhm.
know that's easy for me to say. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you know? That's like saying, if I don't go to work, how am I going to eat?
Mhm.
What I'm saying is, there are certain things that you will have to do in life, but that's if you do it through what's called inspired action.
Mhm.
Believe things, believe that things are yours, believe that things can happen, be open. And
Yeah.
the universe, God, whatever you believe in, will send you those signs, those messages, that inspired action. You ever, Tracy, I'm going to ask you, you ever
Mhm.
get this impulse to just get up and do something and you didn't know why or how or
Mhm.
what, and you had a good outcome to that? Well,
Mhm.
that's inspired action. That's an
Yeah.
impulse. And that's because you were asking for it, and you got the answer, or you got that inspired impulse to go up and get up and do something, and the result was a positive one. Well,
Mhm.
that's what this is about, and that's what manifestation is about. It's just, asking and putting yourself in that receiving mode to be able to accept that. In
Yeah.
addition to up to that, I love what you talked about in the beginning about having your boards and writing things down. I do
Mhm.
that every day.
Mhm.
Every day I will write something down that has to do with what it is I want out of life. And
Yeah.
I also put things in a jar. I
Mhm.
take
That's
a
why I have a
jar.
box.
This is for the
Yeah.
audience out there. Just
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
Think about things that you or want, that you desire, and put them in a jar. Write them
Yeah.
down, put them in a jar, and forget about them.
Yeah. Yep.
Forget about them. Not to say that you're going to forget about them, because if you're emanating those, these are your desires. These are things that
Mhm.
you want. So the universe, God knows what you want, and you're
Yeah.
asking with them with a pure heart. So when you're asking for these things with a pure heart,
Yeah.
you're going to get it. You just have to believe it. So I know it's hard. You just have to believe that whatever it is that you want is yours.
It's coming. That's
It's
right.
coming. It's
So
coming.
there's
Don't worry about the who's, the when's, the how's, or the where's.
that's
It's
right.
coming. Just
There's so many
believe
things.
that it's yours.
Yes, there's so many things that you said there. So there's this book called The Practicing Mind, and you talked about, having fun along the journey. And
Yes.
that's exactly what this book is about. It's like, okay, you have the goal set, that's beautiful, but enjoy the journey along
Enjoy
the
the
way,
journey.
right? Enjoy the progression too, right?
Yes.
Because everything, some things may happen overnight, everything doesn't. But if you enjoy the journey along the way,
Yes.
you're going to get there. And
You're
as
going to
long as
get there.
as you
Yes.
said, if you're emanating what it is that you want and that end goal, it's going to happen anyway. But as
It's
you're
going to
loving the
happen.
journey, it'll probably happen so much faster than you think because you're just loving the journey along the way. And then
Yes.
it's like,
And,
boom, it's
and
here.
that's a great point. Two
Yeah.
things, let me add to that. Number
Yeah.
one, you can't get it wrong, because
That's
you might have stumblings across the path. Enjoy that too, because
right.
that teaches you and lets you know what it is you don't want for the next time. And
That's right.
so you can't get it wrong. And number two, you'll never get it done, because as
Yeah.
human beings, we have been brought into this earth to expand. We're
Yeah.
expanding. And
Yeah.
so once you get to that journey, there's always something else that you're going to want. So
Yeah.
the bottom line is exactly what you just said. Just
Yeah.
have fun with it. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Just, decide what it is that you want. Launch these rockets of desire,
Mhm.
and just sit back and enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, because it's yours. You just have to believe and eliminate that doubt, eliminate that fear.
Yeah. And like, I just want to bring in another point to that too. Like, don't wait until you feel like you've got to get it right. And I'm putting my quotes up, right? It's never right, right? Because there's always certain things that you're going to go through that are going to help you learn and change and grow. And so it's right at that moment. If it's given to you and you can do it right then, just do it. Just do it. Do it
Just do it.
afraid, do it scared, do it
Just
imperfect. It
do it.
doesn't matter. It's all going to work out because, like Jannette
Yes.
said, the who, the when, the why, the how, everything is going to come to you. Like
Yeah.
I didn't, I'm still evolving in these shows and everything that I'm doing. I'm still evolving. I'm still learning, but just get out there and do it and enjoy it. And I'm having so much fun
Yes,
with
and
it.
trust the process, Tracy. We all are evolving. Things get
Yeah.
better in life when the more we do it, the better we become, the more natural we become. I think I
Yeah.
said this behind the scenes in the beginning. A year ago, you would have, if somebody would have said to me, "You're a master of manifestation," I would have said, "I don't even know what that means. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?" I
Yeah.
would have laughed and said, okay,
Yeah.
sure."
Yeah.
But having seen things come into fruition, you
Yeah.
start to believe it, and you start, just test it.
Mhm.
Test it for something
Yeah.
simple. Now, I'm not saying, that some people may say, well, what's this crazy thing you're talking about, manifestation? And it sounds like voodoo or, weird stuff going on. It's nothing like that. It's just
Yeah.
believing that, again, we are the creators of our own realities,
Mhm.
and you are what you become.
Yeah.
You become what you think about. You go, just think about certain things, and just put it to the test, see what happens. I mean, you'll see for yourselves. But
Yeah.
like I said earlier, I want to read something from one of my manifestational cards that I picked
Sure.
out this morning,
Sure.
because I knew I was going to be on the show. So for whatever it's worth, I sound like Dano too. Listen, Book of Positive Aspects,
But
page.
I love what he just said here too. He says, when it comes to your mind, you are aligned for the opportunity. And then my aunties out there and Jannette, just believing and lean in, right? I
Lean
love that
in.
she said that. Lean into it. Just believe and
Lean
lean in.
into it. And what
Yeah.
Daniel said, just put yourself in alignment. Align yourself with your inner being, with your source, with who you are, with
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
And just, you'll feel it. Like I said, the best part about that
Mhm.
is that you'll start getting these answers and these impulses and these signs and these inspirations to go do something or go take
Mhm.
a drive or go call somebody. You ever
Yeah.
call somebody and they say to you, what?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about
Yeah.
you, right? You ever
Yeah.
get that?
Yes. Yes.
I knew, that's why I'm calling.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
I must have dropped my card, but let
Uh-oh.
me read this. I got it. And it goes something like this, Tracy. For
Mhm.
whoever's hearing this must be a message for someone out there.
Sure.
We are each responsible for the thoughts we think. So I'm not responsible for your thoughts, Tracy. I'm not
Yeah.
responsible for your aunt's thoughts. I'm not responsible for anybody's thoughts. And you can't come into my thoughts to tell me what I need to think. That's
Mhm.
just what tells you how the mind is so powerful, right?
Mhm.
And so, okay, when we are in alignment with who we really are, we cannot help but uplift those with whom we come into contact.
Mm.
Powerful, right?
Yeah.
Your value to those around you hinges upon only one thing: your personal alignment with source, with your God,
Yeah.
with who you are.
Yeah.
And the only thing you have to give one another is an example of that alignment, which others may observe, then
Mhm.
desire, and then work to achieve. But
Mhm.
you cannot give it to them. That's the key.
That's right.
Everyone is responsible for the thoughts they think and the things that they choose as their objects of attention.
Yeah.
Powerful, right?
Yes, yes. And I would say to that too, like you can't change anybody's mind.
No,
I
you can't.
so agree with you on that. But
Yes.
I love that you keep using the word emanate, right? So when you emanate the divine, right? When you emanate joy, when you emanate, just love, right? Like all of that's going to exude from you, and it's catchy, right? It's
It
going to
is
start to
catchy.
stick on
Yes.
other people, and then maybe they end up changing their mind based on their encounter with you. So as long as you're acting in that manner and you exude
Yes.
that and you emanate that light, then it's going to
I
have
love,
around you.
love, love that you said that, because that's exactly the basis of manifestations and
Mhm.
bringing it forth. You hit it right on the nail. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to solidify it by saying, exactly, care about how you feel. If
Yeah.
you're happy, if you're joyful, if you're satisfied, even in times when you might not be feeling like, okay, I'm not feeling so good, recognize that, but
Yeah.
don't stay there. Get out of that.
Yeah.
Accept that happiness and that joyful being and that satisfaction and even that peacefulness.
That's right.
And that is part of the manifestation. You got to
Mhm.
know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And once you kind of establish that and you master that,
Yeah.
you'll see all these things coming to you. You're going to say, well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
I was just in a great mood and this happened, or I found $5, or I mean something as simple as that, or I got a call from somebody that I hadn't spoken to in such a long time.
Mhm.
So, and I'm not saying we're always going to be smiling and happy. Life happens and
Mhm.
we have these emotions that we deal with, but that's the point, is not staying stranded in that feeling of anger or resentment or of fear or of doubt, because those are those thoughts again. We're emanating those things.
Yeah.
Nobody's emanating that for us.
And you
We're
have the
doing that.
power. You have the power to flip the switch, right? So even on a
Absolutely.
bad day, right? Like
Yes,
people say to me, like they know me for my smile, but I'm gonna smile at people no matter what.
I do
Even
it all
when
the
I'm
time.
going through challenges in my own life, it doesn't matter, because what I want to emanate or exude is that happiness. And what I
Absolutely.
may be dealing with has nothing to do with somebody else. And 9 times out of 10, right? When I exude that, when I purposely and intentionally exude that, I get something. I'm trying to give something to other people, but I get something out of it too. And then when I flip the switch intentionally, it starts to flip what I'm feeling inside based on
Absolutely.
my challenges or whatever it is. So when you show up that way, you get what you need too, and you're giving something to somebody else out there. So I love
Absolutely.
that. My aunt says, show love and walk in love. And that's really what it's all about.
Show
That's
love and walk in love. Exactly. And you hit a great point earlier too. We don't know what other people are thinking. And we make assumptions when
yeah,
something happens that it has to do with us. And it has nothing to do with us.
yeah,
What other people do is none of your business. What
yeah,
other people say about you is none of your business.
yeah,
Just worry about you and what you do and how you produce that love and
yeah,
and positivity to other folks. And exactly, you're going to get something out of that.
yeah.
It's a
Absolutely.
win-win situation. You never know who you're going to help, and you're also helping yourself. So
Yeah. I can remember actually Dano used an example on Lauren's show about him having an encounter with somebody in a car and just the way he handled it, right? I told him on the show, I'm like, you just changed that person's life and you may never know it, but I'm sure like his response gave something to that man that he needed, because
exactly,
he didn't respond in the same manner. So
exactly. And we don't know if that individual person was looking for that same response. You never know what
exactly.
that person. If the next person comes to me and it gives me exactly what I'm giving back, I'm going to
Mhm.
do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
absolutely right. Kill them with kindness. That's all. Kill them with
That's it.
kindness.
That's it. I totally agree. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we're going to come back because we want to get into the conversation of It Takes a Village and introduce It Takes a Village to everybody out there. So everybody don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Here we go. Hey, everybody, and we are back. So I'm going to bring our beautiful guests back in the room without further ado. But I wanted to say to everybody out there, you saw that commercial. That was Weekly Dose of Dano. That is Jannette's beautiful son. He has a show here on E360 TV on a Thursday evening. So make sure that you check out his show. You saw the energy on that commercial. So, and I love when he does that. Let's go. So everybody, let's go. So we want to talk about It Takes a Village. Transitional housing. So give us a little bit of the backstory first about, why you're so passionate about this and how this all started. Kind of give us that journey.
Sure. Thank you for asking that question. Well, I told you behind the scenes that a year ago, I took a leave of absence from my job. I worked for a child protective agency for about 20 years. And October the 18th of last year, I took a leave of absence because I wanted to find a solution, a way to help families in the capacity that did not have to do with removal of children. Working for a child protective agency, one of the things that I disliked about the job was separating children from their mothers primarily. And so there was a lot of situations where I was not too happy about doing that. But, you have superiors, you're in the leadership role, and decisions were made to have these children removed. Nonetheless, I asked the powers that be, God, the universe, I said, hey, listen, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'd like to do something else. I want to help these families in a different capacity. I want to preserve families. I don't want to remove these kids. It's very traumatic for children to be removed from their mothers primarily. When you think about removals, even just mothers out there in general, have you ever left your kid at school or with a relative and you saw how upset or sad they looked because they weren't going to be with you? Just as something as simple as that could upset a mother. Imagine that having been the case when a child was removed from his mother for several months, even up to a year. Even some of them had their rights terminated. So I just didn't want to do that anymore. And God put it in
trauma, right?
Yeah, that's pretty. And I'm giving you just the surface of what that was about. But putting myself, if we put ourselves in the shoes of a child and what that would look like, that's pretty sad, right? Pretty traumatic. Think about it. That one person he's so used to seeing or she's used to seeing, hey, you got to go. Mom's been using drugs or alcohol, and it's not safe for you to be here. So that prompted this whole idea of It Takes a Village housing. I took a leave of absence when God put that particular incident or idea, dream in my head. I had thought about it years ago, but it wasn't something that was, again, when you manifest, I thought about it. I knew that it was in my desires that I wanted to go that route, but that was put away. I never thought about it as intensely as I did last year. So It Takes a Village housing.
So I have to interrupt you for 1 minute, right? Because there is a timing that matters, right? God's timing is what matters, right?
Listen, and Tracy, you have to understand, 20 years, you retire from a job at 25 years or at the age, right? So I'm like, okay, I have about 8 years to go and that's it. I'm out of here. But God said, no, you don't. You're leaving 20 years. That's a long time. Hey, what do you mean I'm not going? So I didn't fight it. I just said, whatever you want me to do, I will do. So I'm thankful that he's using me as that vessel to be able to change lives of women, of children, of families. Remember, children don't stay young forever. They understand. They're going to know what happens in their surrounding. And it starts in the home, the foundation. So It Takes a Village housing is a foundation. It's a place. It's new. It's preserving families. What it does is it allows a mom to bring 3 of her children with her while she gets transitional housing, drug treatment services, counseling services, mentoring services for her kids. And she gets to remain what she was meant to be, which is a mom. So we're eliminating grandmom. We're eliminating the foster care system. We're eliminating strangers, aunts, uncles to come in and say, hey, I'll take care of Johnny while you get well. All right, how about I take Johnny with me as his mother, and I can get all the services that I need while I get transitional housing? Because I always say this, I sound like a broken record, but as humans, we need what? Those 3 basic needs met, which are what? Food, clothing, and shelter. So we're asking families to complete drug treatment services and they have nowhere to lay their heads.
Right.
Well, how is that helping them?
Right.
How can I be expected to complete drug treatment services where I have nowhere to go?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And talk a little bit about, the difference between what you're offering and what you're giving, because I know there's a lot more to it, right? Versus them being in a shelter.
Well, in a shelter, they don't get that. A shelter is basically that, sheltering women and children have nowhere to go, don't know where they're going to go, don't have family members, may not have friends either. But the bottom line is the difference between the two is that with our services, we are providing drug treatment services. So let's say normally for a shelter, if a parent is on drugs, more often than not, the child protective agencies are going to be involved, meaning they may end up getting those children removed. So that's a big key difference right there. You can go to a shelter, but as mandated reporters, if that mom is using drugs at that shelter, she is mandated and responsible in making that call to ensure that child protective agency goes out and does an assessment, an investigation of what's going on.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that to belittle or downgrade any mothers. No mother says, hey, I want to be a drug user when I grow up. Life happens. So we're not here to, judge. I don't condone, I don't judge. My thing is, let's find the solution to help these families. And it's a cry for help because again, they don't wake up saying, hey, I just want to go use drugs. So it takes a village housing along with that transitional housing is those other components, is the drug treatment piece, the drug preventative piece. It's the counseling. With drug treatment, you might have some mental health issues going on too. So we won't know that until we assess the situation. So that's the difference. In a shelter, you're just going to go with your kids. You're not going to get all the services that you need versus having those specialized services in-house. So not only do I get to be a service with drug treatment and counseling and I get to keep my kids. That's the best feeling in the world. I don't have to go out and use drugs or feel like the world is falling apart in my life because I don't have my kids. And that's what we need to realize as a family, as a society, as a whole, that what can we do for this mother to allow her to be well and get better and put her out into society and out into the community. And that is allow her to have her child. I'm not saying either that there won't be situations where mothers won't be able to have their children, because if that were the case, we would live in a perfect world, right?
And that was going to be my question too. Talk to us about those situations where what kind of constitute like a no way, like you cannot keep the child here with you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, something that constitutes a no way is obviously a physical abuse situation to the point where either the mom nearly, kills the child or does something so significantly harmful to that child that, we assess and see that she's not mentally there. She's checked out. Or something as severe as PCP. And I know a lot of people don't know what PCP is, but they have street names like wet. It's embalming fluid where people go literally crazy. They lose brain cells. We've had situations where we've had parents, and this is not what this show is about, but have harmed the child so much that the child is no longer here. So you
Yeah.
got to be careful with
Yeah.
situations like that, or severe physical abuse.
Yeah.
So there's going to be those situations. But what I'm talking about here is drug use to the point where, okay, something maybe as simple as marijuana.
Hmm.
We terminated rights in the past.
Hmm.
And marijuana today in a lot of states are legal.
Yeah.
So those were the laws back then, and that's what happened. I'm not here to, you know, talk about what happened then, but we have to be a little bit more in tune with what's in the best interest of the child. And
Hmm.
as a state agency that I worked for, and that's what we were about. We're about protecting children, but we don't always do it in the best interest of the child. So I would say, Tracy, case by case
Hmm.
is the answer. And
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, not every case constitutes a removal of a child.
Yeah.
Let's allow these mothers and women to be what they were intended to be, which are mothers. So,
Yeah. I love that. And
yeah.
I want to address something that Daniel just mentioned, not just changing their lives, but the lives of everyone you meet. So I know you have been very active in your community, even before you started It Takes a Village. But talk about, some of those significant encounters now that you've started this plight for the transitional housing, and you're in the community and you see what's happening in the community and you're getting involved. Talk about some of those encounters of the lives of the people that you've met that have made either a significant impression on them or on you, for that matter.
Wow. Well, you know what? I didn't think you would ask that question. I can answer that the best way I know how. I have to say two things with that. Number one is having left that particular job has allowed me to be that person in the community, to engage with other folks, to engage with families, to engage with, other folks in leadership in the community, such as the mayor and commissioners and congressmen of the state of New Jersey. So shout out to the mayor and shout out to all of the constituents of the state of New Jersey. And shout out to my board members too, by the way. I don't always give them the credit that they need. But I say all that to say is when I was working for this child protective agency, I kind of limited my engagement and my interaction with the community. So having left that behind, it feels great to be able to engage with the community and give back. And I've been doing that with, like you mentioned earlier, with some of the cleanups. And um, we have something here in the city of Camden called the Cathedral Kitchen, which is basically giving meals to the homeless, those that are homeless, mental health issues, drug issues. And I'm going to use them as an example. Shout out to the Cathedral Kitchen for all that they do, because they are amazing. They allow anybody and everybody to come out and grab a meal on a daily basis. So shout out to them. But being in that position, that has allowed me, number one, to be in tune with who we are, with who I am, because by the grace of God, go I, right? We're people and we make mistakes, and we don't know what these other folks have been going through in their lives. So to be able to be there and engage with people who other people may think, well, that's not who I'm going to hang out with, or think negatively about them. We're all the same.
Yeah.
So being in that position has allowed me to be humble. It has allowed me to see people for who they are. And I've always been that way, but just so people in that capacity, the homeless, have taught me that we're no better than who they are, because they didn't just get there. These people just didn't decide that they were going to become homeless either. They have a story to tell.
Yeah.
So being able to surround myself with those people, those human beings, has taught me a lesson, because we're all one and the same. And people may disagree with me, but ultimately, what happens to us when we transition anyway, whether you have all this money or not, we're the same.
Yeah.
We're all the same. I don't see colors. I don't see race. I don't see money. I don't see any of that. I just see people for who they are. So I'm grateful that in this last year, I've been able to connect with the community and just give back, because what better feeling than to give back? One of my favorite people in the world was Teresa, right? Sister Teresa, mother. Teresa. I'm
Mother
sorry.
Teresa, yeah.
She's done so much. Sister Teresa, I was thinking of a sister, but she's done so much for the world, and I would love to be just like her.
Yeah, yeah,
And if we can all find in our hearts to do something, some good for people,
yeah,
something simple, it really does make you feel good, and it really does change the perspective of how you view people in general. Because
yeah,
for the most part, people are good.
yeah.
They really are.
Yeah, yeah. And they've just been handed, some tough situations, right? We don't know there's usually a reason why somebody turns to drugs, right? It's usually never for no good reason,
Yes.
right? There's usually something that has happened in their life that led them to that route because they just didn't know how to escape whatever it was that they were going through. So I love that you talked about the mental health piece too, to be able to help them to get through some of the things that they're struggling with so that they won't go back to the drugs, right? So
Exactly.
that's
And that's
that's
the
the hope.
goal, to rehabilitate them, give
Yeah.
them all the services that they need, and put them out into the community.
Yeah.
So when you have those kids grow up, they're not going to be a replication of what their moms went through, you know? They're
Yeah.
not going to be drug users. They're not going to be in dysfunctional relationships or in gangs or in murderers or in jail because again, I said this in the beginning, remember, it all starts in the home. That
Mhm.
foundation is so important,
Yeah.
so important. And I
Yeah.
want to be able, and this is the future me speaking, with those adults to be able to give these surveys and these their representations and their personal experiences about what happened when
Hmm.
they were in this position and they got the help that they needed along with their mom that they
Yeah.
weren't. You're going to find the
And
statistics
yeah.
be so different from what they are today because it truly does start in the home. The foundation is so important. So let's do something different than we've been doing all of these years. Let's preserve these families. Let's allow these children to remain in the home
Yeah.
and just get that love and that attention and that direction from that parent that they so much desire, and that should be the normal for the
And
most.
I was gonna, you answered my question because I was gonna ask you too about the kids and the programs that you have, outlined for the kids, right? Because they need the help just as
They
much
need
as the parent. Yeah,
they
yeah.
need
So
but
I love that, and for them to be able to see like how much their parent is focused on getting better, right? What that's gonna do for the children, and then while the children are getting the help at the same time.
yes, I
Yeah,
love how you said that too. Sometimes we feel like we want to hide kids from knowing what's going on. And ultimately, to some extent, that's good. But children should know what's going on in the lives of their parents.
yeah,
Tell them enough that they will understand. Don't hide it so that,
yeah.
again, they get to make these decisions when they grow older, not because you hid them, you placed them in foster care. Let me say this too. When you put kids in foster care, especially when they end up having their, separation from their moms or the rights are terminated, 9 times out of 10, those kids go back looking for that mom, for that parent.
Mm,
And that says a
mhm.
lot. So you
Yeah.
can keep them, you can hide them for as long as possible. When they turn of age, which is normally 18, what do you
Mhm.
think they do? They
Yeah.
want to know, where did I come from? What happened to my mom? They're
Yeah.
going to go out and look for that mom.
Yeah.
They are. And
And
it might not be the best relationship that they have from that point forward.
yeah.
However, they still want to know and they deserve to know.
Yeah. And noting that too, that you're saying that, that was a struggle for them from, say they went into foster care at 10 years old, from 10 to 18. That was a struggle for them. That was something that they thought about. That was so I
Yeah.
love that you said that because it's not to be taken lightly. It's something that kids go through throughout the years of being in foster care and being misplaced and not having their own parents. And you see it on like reality television now. People are coming out and talking about how they had parents with issues and they weren't raised with their parents, and either they were in foster care or they were adopted. And these adults are on television admitting at in their 40s
It's
that they
not surprising.
still.
It's
Yeah,
not surprising. And I
yeah,
got to see that on day in, day out. I saw
yeah,
that on a regular, and I saw what it did to kids when they were 3 versus when they were 10 versus
yeah,
when they were 16. You get to see a lot. So you know, It Takes a Village Housing is going to do everything that we possibly can to ensure that we um, preserve families and give these moms a second chance at life, because they do deserve it.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's for these kids who don't remain kids forever. They do become adults, and they emanate and they start reacting to these negative situations.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
do what we can to ensure that we preserve these families, because
Yeah.
it's ultimately, we want to know, it's our identity. It's a birthright, right? Where
Mhm.
did I come from? I want
Listen.
to be with my mom. And
li-
I'll say this too, Tracy, sometimes
Mhm.
even with some of the negative behaviors that mothers or fathers may display toward their children, kids
Mhm.
prefer having that than not having them at all. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
not saying that that's right. What I'm saying is just, let's just open our eyes a little bit more and give these families, these mothers, the services that they need, and give them a second chance, because again, they deserve it. And
amen.
for a better tomorrow, for the future of our adults that are kids today, give them the opportunity to make those decisions for themselves, because they were allowed to be raised by that mother in the home.
Yeah. And I love what Barbara's saying here about the system is structured to systematically push people along. That is so true. And
It
It Takes a
is. Yeah.
Village Housing is not a system. We are a lifeline to the helpless and the hopeless. Amen. Amen
Yes.
to that. I wanted to just kind of highlight what you were talking about with the kids too. When it comes to the kids, right? They see things, right? They know that things are going on. So trying to hide and push it to the side doesn't help. And
Yes.
you can help their emotional and their mental state a lot better if you give them some truth about life and life situations, because they're going to grow up and life is going to happen to them, right? And if you can mitigate the risks of either falling into what their parents have falling into, let me speak correct English here, what their parents have fallen into, or just them getting into their own type of trouble, right? Let's mitigate those risks and start talking to kids and being honest with them and putting them on a better path, because life happens, right? And life is
Absolutely.
challenging. So I wanted to show your, and it takes a village. Is it .org or .com?
It takes a village one.org.
One.org, and I thought it was .org too. So let me I just want to fix that, because I want to run this across the screen. I want everybody to go to it takes a village one.org. Make sure that you are going on there and donating. These families need assistance. A little goes a long way. So, if even if it's a little bit, just go there, donate whatever you feel in your heart. This is heart work, and just help. It Takes a Village one.org, right? So you see that on the screen. It is scrolling, but It Takes a Village Transitional Housing. You've heard it here from Jannette. Give us some quick last words, and then unfortunately we're gonna have to leave the show. But I
That
love
hour went by
having you
so
on.
fast.
I know. So quick last words in a couple of words.
Sure. I just want to say, who doesn't love helping women and children, right? When we think about women and children, we kind of resonate. If you're a mother yourself, or you're auntie, or you're a grandmom, when you think about kids are innocent, and they are, and they don't stay little forever.
Yeah.
So just knowing that It Takes a Village Housing is here to help these families maintain their relationships with their mothers.
Yeah.
That's the goal here, for a child to be able to be raised by his or her mother, which it should be what we're doing. We should not going in and removing these children based off of our perceptions, or what we think, or how we think we should be saving a kid.
Yeah.
I said it earlier, some kids will need to be saved, of course, yes. Not every situation isn't going to warrant a removal,
Yeah.
but we need to dive a little bit deeper into how we can help these families. And just know that having a family that has had his or her mother, and having been given that opportunity to be raised by his or her mother, more likely than not, that child is going to raise into, and I hate to use the word normal, but let's use the word as normal as possible, because,
Right.
like Tracy mentioned, those traumas continue into our life when when we're older, in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s, in our 50s.
Yeah.
And so if we tackle that early on, more likely than not, we're going to be giving these children, these future adults, an opportunity to be able to live, to exhibit normal behaviors. And we're going to see less of those, behaviors, those negative outcomes, those we're going to see a lot less of the negatives because we've allowed something to develop, and that something is allowing those relationships with mothers and children to ensue, and we owe that to these mothers. And I know, some people are going to think, well, if she's using drugs, she's using drugs. Yes, it's a case by case basis. However, think about that child, and think about that child growing up, because yeah, it's great, children, oh, let's do it for the children, but they're not always be children. They're
Right.
going to be adults.
Right.
Give them the opportunity to think and do for themselves as well, and just be as open and honest with your children, because again, they don't stay children forever. They don't. So we're good. We're here. We're not going anywhere. It takes the village housing. Spread the word.
That's
Donate
right.
if you possibly can. Anything, it helps. No donation is too small.
That's
We're
right.
here. We're going to be expanding. Right now, we're in the city of Camden. Our goal is to expand to the state of New Jersey, then go to Philadelphia, New York, Connecticut. We're going to go from state to state to state, because
Amen.
pilot program, and it's got to start somewhere. So it's going to be
Amen.
starting here in the city of Camden. And again, we're going to go nationwide. This is going to go huge, because
Right.
you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting the same results, right?
That's
What is
right.
that? That's insanity.
That's right.
Something
So,
different.
everybody out there, you've heard it here. I want you to make sure that you are following Jannette Ramos on all social media, and follow It Takes a Village. Go to ittakesavillage1.org. Make sure that you are donating, stay connected, and look for It Takes a Village, first in Camden and then nationwide. It is happening. We love you all out there. We thank you for coming on to the Whole Living Show. And Jannette, you'll have to come back to let us know the progress and anything that's going on, fundraising or whatever that is, events that are happening. Just come back, and you're always welcome to this show. But we love everybody out there. Check us out next Wednesday right here on the Whole Living Show at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.